Let's talk about what it actually means to feel regulated and why embodiment is the key to everything you're trying to heal, shift, or manifest in your life. Because if you're constantly overwhelmed, overstimulated, triggered, reactive, or numb, it's not because you're broken or something is really wrong with you, right? It's not because you're too emotional, and it's also not because you just can't handle life and you're weak and all of those things. It's simply because you have learned to live outside of yourself. So now your nervous system is constantly bracing itself for impact, is constantly thinking that you're endangered. You're living in fight or flight 24/7. And you're again not out of alignment, you're just out of your body, right? And regulation isn't just calming down, it's feeling safe to stay wherever you are. So I want to clear something up when it comes to regulating yourself. Regulation doesn't mean that you're always chill. It also doesn't mean that you're always peaceful and love and light, or that nothing triggers you anymore. Nothing will ever trigger you anymore. It just means that your body knows how to come back itself when it is dysregulated, when you are feeling unsafe, when you are spiraling, when you are overwhelmed and overthinking, right? And in fight or flight. It means that your system has the capacity to hold your emotions instead of drowning in them. Because true emotional regulation is not suppression, it's simply integrating your emotions. It's the ability to stay with your experience without abandoning yourself, right? To feel grief and rage and fear or shame and still stay rooted in yourself anyway. And for most women, that capacity has been missing for a long time, unfortunately. Because from the time you were a little girl, you were taught to perform and not feel, to not be a crybaby, to not be overly dramatic, to not be too emotional, to get yourself, to get your shit together, to get yourself together, right? You were taught to smile through your pain, to say that you're fine, to be nice, to be polite, to be good, even when your body was screaming the complete opposite, even when your body was screaming, no, I'm not safe, I'm not feeling well, I'm feeling all of these things. And even when you were old enough to consciously change it, you either simply didn't or you didn't know how. But regardless, it is your responsibility and accountability to take now, right? You cannot blame your past. It's just an explanation. It's not an excuse. So you're repeating the same patterns over and over and over again now. So now your body doesn't feel safe because you have been conditioned to leave yourself every time it gets too much, and you haven't taken the actions yet to change that for yourself. But you need to change it. You need to do so. You have to stop blaming your external circumstances for what happened to you, for what you've been taught, for what you've been conditioned to do so, and actually change it yourself now. An embodiment is what happens when you start staying, when you start changing that. This is where embodiment becomes everything. Because embodiment isn't about being perfectly confident. It's not about, like I said, being high vibe and love and light all the time. It's not about posing like you've got it all together and you've got your whole life figured out. It's simply about being in your body fully, even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's scary, even when it's loud, right? It's simply about listening, about staying. It's about softening instead of trying to control all the time, and feeling instead of fleeing, okay? When you're embodied, your body basically becomes this compass, becomes your compass. So you stop outsourcing your truth to someone else. So you stop abandoning your boundaries and you stop searching for clarity outside of you because it now lives inside of you, right? And on top of that, your nervous system is not the enemy anymore, it's your key. When your nervous system is dysregulated, your body basically becomes this battlefield. right? You're constantly in defense mode. You overreact or even completely shut down, right? Fight, flight, or freeze. You overreact or completely shut down. You disconnect from your sensations. You avoid stillness because stillness feels threatening to you. That's often why healthy relationships feel boring to you, because you're so used to the chaos. You're thriving in chaos, right? You're calm in chaos, but you're dysregulated in stillness. That's a problem. And from that place, you cannot access your intuition. You cannot access actual joy. You cannot even access your desires because your body is stuck in survival. But the moment that you begin to regulate and the moment that you begin to breathe, you anchor, you drop in, and everything shifts. Your thoughts clear, your reactions soften, your body begins to trust yourself again. And when your body trusts you, you can finally trust yourself. So here's what you do when it feels like too much. When you're spiraling, when your chest becomes tight, when your heart is racing, when everything feels too loud and too heavy, and you clench your toes, your fists, your jaw, whatever happens to you physically, right? Somatically, you stop. You slow down and you come back to your body. How do you do that? You breathe. You breathe slowly. You breathe deeply. You put a hand on your chest, your belly, your thighs, anywhere that feels real for you to bring yourself back. You name what you're feeling and you give yourself permission to feel it. And you do that for a few minutes. And you remind yourself by breathing deeply and consciously that this is not permanent. You're not in danger. This is not dangerous. I am safe to be in my body. I can hold this. Whatever helps you in that moment to bring yourself back to the present moment, because that's what regulation is. That's what embodiment looks like. Not perfection, just simply being present. Simply being present, not overwhelming yourself. Not overthinking, not spiraling. Just bringing yourself back into your body, just anchoring yourself again. If you're on the last set of, I don't know, whatever exercise, doing planks, and you're panicking, I can't anymore, your whole body is shaking, breathe. Stop spiraling. Get out of your head. Bring yourself back into your body. Talk to yourself. Start talking to yourself. If somebody triggered you, stop spiraling. Stop making up the worst assumptions throughout the rest of your day and ruining your mood and ruining your emotions and projecting it onto everybody else around you. Just bring yourself back into your body. Get out of your head and get into your body. Again, get out of your head and get into your body. That is what regulation is. It's not forcing yourself. It's simply feeling again. It's also not control. It's simply self-compassion. It's showing up for yourself instead of self-abandoning in the most silly moments or in the most serious moments. Your body is not a problem. Your emotions are not the enemy, and your sensitivity is also not a flaw. You've just been taught to leave yourself over and over and over again, and now you think that's what you need to do. You're used to it, so you don't change it, because changing it requires effort. And you don't want to put effort in. You give up too easily. Your only job is to come back to yourself, but it is your responsibility to do it. Stop blaming everything else and take accountability. Breathe, feel, stay, and trust that your body knows exactly what to do, because it does. The rest will sort itself out. Regulation and embodiment aren't the end goal. They are just the foundation. They are the path home. And you were never meant to live this disconnected. Presence has never been this difficult. Presence has never been this easy. Just breathe.